There's 5 times more carbon in soils than there is in the atmosphere, and even more than there is in all of the biomass. That's the weight of trees worldwide and the animals, although that's a small part of it, mostly trees. So soil organic carbon is the biggest kind of metabolizing carbon pool, active carbon pool in the world. And we've destroyed about half of it in every place where we've converted the land from forest to agriculture or pasture. Now, of all that carbon in soils worldwide, half of that is in wetland soils, swamps, marshes, bogs, that sort of thing. And half of that is in marine wetlands, mangroves, seagrasses, and salt marshes. They occupy like less than 1% of the surface of the earth, but they have about a quarter of all the soil carbon in this tiny little area. And we've destroyed about half of those habitats completely. They've been dredged up and destroyed completely almost every place. So, half of the places at any rate. So all that, and those are the richest carbon soils of all because they build up organic peat. It can be almost pure organic matter in some places.
About how many tons per hectare or acre?
I can't give you a number offhand, but I mean, the thing is the amount of carbon in the peat dwarfs the amount that's in the trees and
it's
the
almost
forests.
pure carbon. Right? It's almost pure carbon.
It can be.
Yeah.
It can be where it's really organic rich. Yeah. At any rate, the point is when those areas are cut down and drained, all that carbon disappears and goes off into the atmosphere. So it's a very intense source of CO2. On the other hand, if we're restoring those mangroves and turning them back into carbon sinks, it's the most cost-effective carbon sink in terms of the amount of carbon you can store per unit area per dollar. The most effective possible carbon sink we could have is to restore mangroves on a large scale. So we're trying to do that in Borneo, as I say, to create an orangutan sanctuary in this area that was illegally logged. Willie Smits, who's a real hero of mine, by the way, who's restoring vast areas of illegally logged forests in Borneo, is kind of leading that. We don't have the funds in hand yet, but I've been to the site, and it's pretty amazing. I can show you photos, but I got to get my computer upstairs. But anyway, so that's one of the things we're really going to try to work on. So it's an odd situation because, in some sense, these ecosystems have been ignored by both the marine people and the land people. The land people, they don't want to go there because you've got to walk through muck, you get wet. But the ocean people don't want to go there because it's too shallow and their boats will drown, So it's been a no man's land that has been ignored by both. But in fact, it's restoring those ecosystems is the best thing we can do for soil carbon.
And tell me how you're going to do it with the Biorock?
Well, yes, we're going to use the Biorock method, and that's a method that Wolf Hilberts and I invented about 40 years ago. And we use low voltage trickle charges, like from solar panels, for example. We can use any source. And we just give a trickle charge. And what that does is we actually speed up the growth of all marine organisms. It works only in the ocean because it depends on little electrical currents flowing through the seawater. That stimulates things to settle, grow, and survive conditions that would normally kill them. And we developed the method originally for restoring coral reefs and fisheries habitats, and we mainly work in tropical waters. It works with oysters, it works with salt marshes, it works with seagrasses, and we were able to grow these organisms in habitats where they normally couldn't survive because of severe physical stresses or chemical or biological stresses. We're able to get them to survive conditions that would normally kill them. For instance, we keep whole reefs alive where they would die from bleaching. It's quite amazing. So we see a big application to regrowing, if you will, the natural ecosystems and forests and the soils they hold that are protecting our coastlines. And that's going to be a major focus of ours in the coming years. Now, I'm leaving, this week to Samoa for United Nations Small Island Developing States meeting, basically on climate change adaptation strategy. I want them to understand, that pushing the rest of the world to do the right thing with soil carbon is the only thing that's going to save them from drowning. And they're right on the edge of that. It's out of control. I mean, as you know, it's past the point when their flooding is doomed unless we restore carbon in soils right away on a very large scale. It's the only hope they have.
Have you thought about the total numbers in terms of, hundreds or thousands of gigatons?
Not really. I mean, I've gone through the numbers, and I think I have some of it in that FAO poster behind your head here. No, but I mean, a lot of people have. I mean, I think you can question a lot of their estimates because they tend to overestimate or underestimate they tend to overestimate those things they know well and underestimate the things that they don't. You know what I mean? And that's a key thing with the solutions, because there are a lot of people proposing solutions that they say are singles.
Yeah.
They're enough by themselves. Now, I don't think any of them really are. I think people are exaggerating their thing and ignoring the rest. But put together, they can surely do the job.
Sure.
And one thing that I'm convinced, and this may be the special pleading issues, I'm convinced that restoring mangroves and using Biorock is going to be a major tool for storing carbon quickly.
Well, Tom, you know, we stand with you, and we will help promote this idea. And I know you also are in favor of biochar. Do you want to say just a little bit about that?
I've been posting quite a bit on that too, because biochar is a form of carbon that lasts the longest in soil and holds the most water and nutrients. So, you know, it's sort of, it's in a sense a form of organic carbon that's been supercharged in its physical and chemical properties, and biological too, because the symbiotic fungi that feed the roots of plants go right into it, and they transfer the nutrients to it. So I think it's a very important part of any solution to it.
Right, and you know, I advocate for regenerative grazing, and in part I advocate for it so much only because it is vilified. You know, not because I think it's more important than the other ones.
No, it's not that. It's
but because it's vilified, I like to advocate for it.
Sure, it's a technique to use in areas that are pasture and grazing lands. And we need methods also for agricultural land and forests and all the others, and for the marine habitat too. Now, and the marine habitat, as I said, it's right along the shore. That's where we can really make a difference.
Yeah. Well, okay, we stand with you. You know, Soil4Climate.
Well,
stands
actually, let me ask this: is, you know, World Soil Day is coming up in December. I mean, you might want to think about.
Are you going to be around? Let's do something.
You know, I'm going to be in Indonesia and Australia.
Okay, but we'll try to, you know, loop in your work somehow.
Yes. Anyway, I do want to move the mangrove thing forward, though. I mean, that for me is really crucial. I want to focus my efforts on getting that stuff done, but we're still waiting for funding.
Would you be near a high, you know, a Wi-Fi? I mean, could we tap you in somehow?
It's possible, but I'll be with the film crew, and you know, my
who
time
knows?
is not my own when I'm with
You know
those
what?
guys,
Maybe
you know?
even before you leave, maybe even just write a statement, like your statement for World Soil Day, and then like we'll read it for you or something like that.
Well, let me see what happens in this meeting with the small island states. But you know, I want them to start speaking out for this stuff, and I've never really been willing to.
Right.
You know.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to turn it off now.
Yeah.